Welcome to Southland Matahiku in New Zealand's Deep South, a region renowned for its unmatched beauty. This week it provides a natural playground for New Zealand's best road cyclists in the 67th edition of the SBS Bank Tour of Southland. Over 7 days we will see all the South has to offer, starting and finishing in Invercargill, a city transforming for the future. Through fertile farmland, the rugged south coast, the beauty of Fiordlands and the majestic remarkables in Queenstown. All to push the country's top road cyclists to their absolute limit. 114 riders, 19 teams, over 860 kilometres and just one winner. This is the 2023 SBS Bank Tour of Southland. If there were any doubts about the Tour of Southland being an international race, Thursday's stage from Invercargill to Bluff emphasised that point. The key move came at Glenham when a powerful trio broke away to put a fright into the peloton. But the main bunch kept them in check and timed their catch perfectly, meaning the front of the race came together at the base of Bluff Hill. With French and Japanese riders to the fore early in the climb, it was New Zealand-based Englishman Dan Gardner who chose the steepest part of the hill to make his move, hitting the pedals to break clear and cross the line, pointing to the heavens and taking a 35-second lead in the overall general classification. And with 11 riders within 2 minutes of the lead, Friday's stage to Gore looms as tour-defining.
Yesterday was really hard. The climb is like crazy, and the stage was quite flat all the day, and then you finished by this terrible hill. It was really hard. I suffer a lot, and on the top when Dan go, I start to stand up and go full gas, but I was already full gas, so I just hold the pace to the line.
Oh, it's good. It's nice climb. The race is all over when you get to the bottom and you just got to pedal. Don't think about it.
Yeah, no, it's been a really good tour. The boys have really showed me the ropes. A lot to learn on the road. Then I sort of aimed for Bluff Hill and was pretty stoked to get up there pretty well yesterday. But yeah, the boys have helped me so much. The goals that we've got all sort of complement each other, and I think, yeah, we've got a pretty good plan and everyone knows what they're doing, so it's good.
The speed is crazy. There is not a lot of wind, so I think I'm a bit lucky this year because I'm not a big fan of the crosswind. I'm a bit lighter than the other guys, but the speed and the level on the climb, the level is really high.
We're a team of guys from pretty much all over New Zealand. Yeah, the team manager, Rick's coming, wanted to give us all an opportunity to race at a higher level as a team, and so we find ourselves at Southland. Having a great experience. It's been good. The weather's been nice to us, particularly me as a smaller guy. A few of our guys would like a bit more wind today, I think, but we've found ourselves with two guys right up there in under 23. Jonty's riding a really good race, and we're looking to expand on that today.
And I'd like to try and get in a break, but looking at what the GC is doing, I think it's going to be hard. The younger guys especially was talking about just being pretty damn keen to finish their tour of Southland.
Yeah, there's a lot of unknowns, probably myself included. Will be my first ever time trial tomorrow, so that will be pretty interesting. But I'm looking forward to mix it up and I'll give it everything I've got.
There's not too much wind, so I think it'll be quite a fast start with a few guys wanting to make the break. They're looking at last year, they made it all the way, so the GC gaps are quite close still, so I think there'll be a few guys ripping it over the climbs towards the end. Yeah.
For sure, we'll try to make some move because the time trial tomorrow doesn't suit me very well, so yeah, we will have to move today.
Awesome support here on the second to last day, the penultimate day here of this SBS Bank Tour of Southland, and the crowds are coming out to play to support their favourites. Go Tom there, Doug, the former student of St. Therese, is there. He's in his first tour and we've seen him day in and day out giving it his best.
Tommy Kerr, what a kid. He's having a great year this year. C. Brown Builders, Alfred Contracting have done a fantastic job in recruiting Tom Kerr. These riders have got a lot of work to do though on the outskirts of Invercargill before they get to Winton. Once they get to Winton, things start getting a wee bit more serious. There's a couple of lumps and bumps there across on the stage into Gore as well. So today is the day, I think, Julian, that the big hitters are going to come out, and I'm going to say this is our chance to win this year's SBS Bank Tour.
Yes, the great thing about this particular stage here, it certainly offers up another lot of opportunities for riders to try and pick up some dollars, and particularly to challenge for the general classification. Every day we say it, but in this one here we have seen the tour turned on its head. Last year, of course, Josh Burnett, a 20k time trial going into Gore, escaping off the front to establish a decent gap as he went into the final day of the tour. But meanwhile, this peloton, Doug, they are not mucking around once again here as they get down Layard Street, and look at the support on the sides of the road.
The support this year's SBS Bank Tour has had massive support. Nick Kurgazoo here is just so hungry for these sprint points. Coming up here to the sprint outside James Hargest High School, Marshall Irwood Country, of course, and the schools just do their utmost to support this race, and it does mean a lot to the riders. They do get a big boost from it, and you can see the pace. We have just had 50k an hour almost for the first two or so hours of every single stage this year as the SBS Bank Tour. It is incredible.
Yes, the splintering of the peloton continues to happen day in and day out as these guys drop the flag. They just go for it, absolutely hammer for nail, as they try and make life as tough as possible on the rest of the field here. And if you're not warmed up, if your body hasn't recovered from the previous days, then you're going to be in a lot of trouble very early on.
And all the team meetings and team strategies and Director Sportif's speeches about what we're going to do and how we're going to do it all don't mean anything when you're out on this road and you really do work out what kind of form your legs are in, and you work out that some of your other competitors are doing just as well or even better. So once we hit the road in these stages, things do unravel, and a lot of these riders do have to make some strategy decisions on the fly as to how they're feeling.
Let's not forget that the top half dozen riders on the general classification are only separated by a mere 55 seconds. So there will be a lot of strategy coming into today as they try and secure for themselves a win in one of the classifications.
It is so incredibly close, as are the sprint jersey, Harcourt sprint jersey and King of the Mountains jerseys as well. So this year really has been tense.
The beautiful rolling country of Southland as these riders make their way across from Waianawa over towards Drummond here, and they're being well stretched out here as the pace continues to be high.
Conditions have helped that this week, but you've got to say the calibre of the riders has been very even in the peloton this week, which has contributed to those high speeds. A lot of young guys, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of really, really positive racing, and I know some of the older riders are saying, gosh, these young chaps really do click along, and it's just great for the future of the SBS Bank Tour. It's great for the future of New Zealand cycling. There's some really, really talented riders out there who are younger and are really experiencing the best racing they can.
Here we see a group now trying to establish itself off the front. It's a large looking group here of around 13 riders. We'll try and pick up a few of those names as they stretch themselves out here. And it looks like Ben Oliver could be one of the men in the mix here. Of course, well up on the general classification. You can also spot there Boris Clark, number 21. Now that's a couple of the big hitters here trying to establish a gap off this front here as Josh Rivet for Oxford starts to stir things along.
That's really a big group to get away. And of course, we've also got to mention here there's no race radio communications to the management back in the vans, and so these riders are actually adjusting their strategies and who's in the breakaways, working out what they're doing as they get along. It is true bike racing as we all knew it. So a lot of these breakaways that get away, the reaction from the peloton can sometimes be staggered and delayed.
We can see the peloton not mucking around here. They're trying to keep them inside here at this point in time, but a large group doesn't necessarily mean an effective group here. So it'll be interesting to see as they make their way across towards Winton where everybody actually contributes to this or not, because they're in here for various reasons. We can see the likes of Marshall Irwood sitting there in second to last point, and that's of course he's got Cooper, who looks like he may have missed this break here and is sitting third in the GC, so he won't be wanting to contribute to the front. He's just the ticket holder watching the bunch.
Yeah, Kane Richards is obviously really happy to be away in this breakaway. The Coupland's Booth Logistics rider there looking really relaxed. There, of course, is Nick Kurgazoo, who is chasing, of course, the Harcourt Sprint jersey. He's a good man to have away in a breakaway. Like you've said, some of these bigger breakaways we haven't seen work as positively perhaps as the smaller breakaways have in this year's SBS Bank Tour. There's one of the QFS riders, Boris Clark. He really is making a big effort here to try and increase his chances on GC. Today is the day for Boris and the Quality Foods Southland squad, I believe.
And Arthur Mayer there of France. We talked to him at the top of the show here, the Oxford Edge man, and he is looking pretty smooth out there. This is a fantastic opportunity for him. He is currently sitting second in the general classification after Bluff yesterday, and the key man that has missed this break, of course, is the man in orange, Gardner.
Back at the main peloton, you can see here it's big James Gardner riding for Central Benchmakers Will Bike. They've obviously missed the split with their man Joseph Cooper in top contention for the overall lead. He's missed out here. You can see him on second wheel. He's having a real struggle. This is quite exposed and quite windy through here. Back further you can see the PRV Pista Corsa team. Now, of course, they've got the tour leader in there, and things are really starting to heat up at the front of this peloton.
Yes, it's desperation aplenty here. They can see them up the road. The gap slowly but surely is opening here, but they know they need to shut this down as early as possible to try and save the legs for the stage finish. But at the moment, there's a lot of energy being given out.
Yes, a lot of energy being expended, and for the first time, I believe, in this year's SBS Bank Tour, we've actually encountered some genuine crosswinds. It is exposed here across these flats on the way across towards Winton, but the whole field is chasing this lead group. It's a tale of two races. Here we have the Creation Signs riders at the front here driving, trying to keep their GC chances alive. We've also got a couple of teams sitting in here that aren't actually attributing anything. PRV Pista, of course, with young Edward Pawson in there, and the Central Benchmakers Will Bike team, Marshall Irwood back there. They are not going to be contributing too much here.
Meanwhile, back in the peloton, and we see the man in orange for the first time, Gardner. He's brought his troops towards the front here. He's trying to get himself sorted out here and help to try and shut things down. He doesn't want his tour to escape after a fine effort yesterday up Bluff Hill. This is an opportunity for others to try and put the pressure on him, but he's got his young chargers on the front, and they are young guys that have come to this tour, many of whom in their first ever SBS Bank Tour.
And as this front group rolls through Winton once again, the school kids all out. Some of the signage this year has been fantastic. These lead groups, though, are not worrying about the signage. They're worrying about jerseys and they're worrying about time. And this time gap at 1:11 is starting to look a wee bit more positive. Some of these chaps, the likes of Kane Richards here, you can see rolling through. He will be thinking, have I got enough in the tank? Thinking about tomorrow's time trial, thinking about the stage. This really is the do or die stage for these guys wanting to win this race.
Isn't it interesting, the mental game? When you look at Kane Richards, this is a guy 2 days ago who put himself into the orange jersey. Yesterday, he lost all that time. He shuffled back down the GC. He doesn't let it get on top of him. The professionalism to go back out there with glass half full and actually go out on the attack and put himself into a position to potentially pick up some dollars on the road.
So you can see here back at the front of the peloton, they are very organised. This PRV Pista Corsa squad, Dan Gardner, of course, in the Tour Leaders orange jersey, are showing a lot of professionalism. There's a couple of other teams there at the front, the Transport Engineering Southland Deep South squad member there. He's rolling through. They are being patient. This front group is big. It hasn't blown out yet, and there's still a lot of racing left, and it starts getting hilly. This is the start of the first climbs, of course. King of the Mountains points up for grabs here with 35k to go.
Yes, with just 35k to go, and it's a rider 122. That is a Sean Murphy for the C. Brown Builders, Alford Contracting. He's just trying to ensure that he picks up a few points to protect the defence of the King of the Mountains, which of course is his own teammate Max Campbell hidden away back in that main peloton. But a bit of a split starting to happen here as Kane once again puts a bit of pressure on the front. We've seen him do this day in and day out here, and Boris Clark's gone onto his wheel here. I would suggest, Doug, they're not just going to go and try and pick up a few points here, but this might be a little bit of a bid to see if they can break up this 13 rider group.
I think you're right, and of course Kane Richards really, like you've just said, has been super on the front right from the get-go in this year's edition. And then Boris Clark, of course, he's just hanging on the back. He looks like he's struggling a wee bit going across the top of this climb. He'll be hoping to keep up with these two guys across the top of here, because once you get through here it's a very fast descent down into Mataura, down the Sawmill Hill. But these two guys, or these front three guys here, especially Kane Richards, this man is so desperate. He wants this race. He really is.
Yes, I think there may have been some instructions here. Let's keep it going, boys, here as this trio. Now, for the first time we've seen with this break of trying to break things on up, because as we mentioned, 13 is quite a large group, not necessarily the most effective number to get away in a break. So they've waited and now made a bit of a move, as you said, down into Mataura.
So here we are now, all back together again. Front group of about 11 riders coming up the Waimumu Hill just out of Mataura. This is a very famous circuit. It's been used a number of times for national road cycling champs. It's tough out here. The roads are hard. They're very bumpy, and this front group have still got a lot of work. And if these chaps want to win this year's SBS Bank Tour, the likes of Kane Richards and Boris Clark, they're going to have to use this part of the race as a springboard.
Fantastic looking shot there as we move back towards the peloton here in these undulating conditions out of Mataura, and it looks like the Macleay Jewelers most combative from yesterday, Ollie Jones, is going to head off the front. He loves these uphill battles. As he moves himself across, he'll be able to start to see the flashing lights of the lead vehicles. As we can see, they are starting to shut things on down, so hence why Ben Oliver and co are starting to drive things all the way here. They know they are still in with a chance here. They want every second they can possibly get going into tomorrow's time trial.
The seesaw between the lead group, the peloton, has been a constant theme in this year's SBS Bank Tour. Julian, you've talked about it yourself. They seem to have an unofficial calculator for time, and these riders at the front here, here's Kane Richards now coming through again to do a big turn for the Coupland's Booth Logistics team. He is really using every single one of these wee climbs as an opportunity to attack and to try and maximise his chance. This is really starting to hurt this front group.
This guy is on fire today. We've already seen him surge a few times, and in the background a number of riders exploding and heading backwards at a great knot of speed here. The man off the front, Richards, is going to make life very tough here as others try to scramble across. It looks like Boris Clark is the first to try and do so. Ben Oliver there in the tiger colours of Creation Signs Mitre Q. We may well have a trio here, but they've still got to catch this man on the very front, Doug. He just seems to hold it out the front there, very similar to Gardner on day one.
Immensely powerful bike rider, Kane Richards, and his physique and his style is just designed for Tour of Southland riding. He can climb, he can sprint, he can ride the flats. He really has got the aggressive headspace that you require for a stage racer and to do well in the likes of the SBS Bank Tour. Boris Clark there, you can see having a look over his shoulder. He's asking Ben Oliver, hey mate, can you bridge this gap across to this guy? These boys are struggling to catch Kane Richards, and he is not waiting for them.
The field is disintegrating as we get closer and closer to the stage victory here in Gore, as we look to 10k to go with the peloton, and they're looking a bit deflated here as they descend down into the main street of Gore shortly.
Deflated is a good word. I think the energy and the absolute desire to try and catch this front breakaway, which we are now seeing the remnants of course we've still got 3 riders up the road, has really hurt the peloton, and they are screaming trying to catch this front group here, but they may have left their run too late. This is Broughton Street, and this is one of the last chances that these riders have got to try and stay away from that chasing peloton.
We approach the 3K mark here to the finish, and these three men have only got mere seconds on the chasing peloton. They are well aware of it there as Richard slides up into second wheel here, moves himself up onto the man that rides for the Quality Food Southland team, Boris Clark, and he just buries his head into the handlebars. He can't believe what has just happened as Richards goes straight round the outside. He'll be well aware he's not after the King of the Mountains. This guy is making yet another bid to try and take out the stage victory.
What a ride from Kane Richards. That is a tough climb, Broughton Street. There is a lot of slope at the top, and it carries on over the top. Kane Richards is just making this look like it's a bit of flat road. The Coupland's Booth Logistics team here, the ride from this lad is on par with all of the other rides we've seen him do this week. We are really getting to the tail end of this tour. To pull out something like this shows the kind of form he's in. He's come in prepped up really well, and this man is really trying his best to wrestle back that orange jersey.
Kane Richards in time trial mode as he gets down to the last closing metres down the main street of Gore here. This looks like this could be a stage victory for the man, but they are bearing down on him very, very quickly here. He's had 2 second placings in the last couple of days and in the past few years. Can he take his first ever victory here into Gore? And it's looking this way as he starts to prepare to wave to the crowd. He takes the victory. Kane Richards, an outstanding effort here. He'll get a few time bonuses. That'll move him up on the boards. But more importantly, what's happening in behind as Boris Clark comes through, another man to continue to move up towards the orange jersey as it's his teammate Goff that'll lead in the peloton only a mere few seconds later.
Yes, a huge ride from Kane Richards and Boris Clark trying to wrestle back that time for the overall tour leader's orange jersey. Whether they've done enough, who's to know? They've certainly taken some time back on the leader, Dan Gardner from the PRV Pista team for tomorrow's time trial, but let's just see what the clocks say at the end of this stage.
Dan Gardner will be relieved tonight as he holds on to the orange jersey here in the SBS Bank Tour of Southland by 35 seconds from Mayer and Clark at 36 seconds. Meanwhile, the stage winner, Kane Richards, moves back into the top 10. Nick Kirkazoo took out a string of sprints today to do enough now to well and truly set himself into the green going to the last day. Max Campbell and the King of the Mountains continues to hold on at 30 points from Elliot Crowther and Richards. Another day of familiar look here to the Henderson Construction under 23 with Camden Fent leading from Watson, Palmer and Cooper. Joe Cooper has a massive 6-minute 39 advantage over Ashley and Crowther in the silver jersey for Stonewood Homes. While Kane Richards, after an outstanding day on the bike, takes out the Macleay Jewelers most combative. Quality Food Southland continue to lead from Transport Engineering South and Deep South and Oxford Edge in the Wensley's team classification.
I haven't actually had a proper crack at the time trial, so I'm pretty keen tomorrow to see how we can go and see if I can at least hold my position in the top 10, maybe make some time back, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, I'm feeling confident. I know that clearly the form's pretty good, better than I thought, so yeah, we'll definitely throw everything I can at it and have a crack.
I'm relieved to get that one done. Boys rode really well, but I'm not comfortable at all. So I'm going to keep racing as hard as I can all the way to the line because anything can happen in Southland, and saw that last year, and I'm well aware that this race always brings a few surprises, so yeah, we'll be attentive for the final day.
Follow the action from this historic race with live race updates, full results and pictures at tourofsouthland.com.